going to be good tonight. I'm excited. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. Anybody open the LLC or doing your paperwork to open up an LLC? We talked about it last week. Okay, got a couple. Nice. I'm excited. You thinking about it but don't know what to do? Don't say nothing. Just blink at me. I got you. All right, well, we're excited about that. Any questions from last week? Just want to make sure we don't miss anybody. Any questions from last week? We okay? All right. We're good? Okay. Perfect. Well, we're not going to delay. Let's go ahead and get started because we're on a good timeline tonight. Ms. Jamil, if you would come up with me, she's going to do the second portion, but she's going to introduce the young lady who's going to do the first portion. So I'm going to get out of y'all way, and we're going to talk again in a little bit. All right? How's the family?
Family's good. Marcus, you got a mic? You don't? So you can open us up in prayer. Thank you so much. I thought you was just queuing Marcus up, that's all.
Sounds good. Will you bow with me, please? Our Father which art in heaven, we come to you once again on a Monday night. We pray that you will endow us with wisdom from on high. We also pray, Lord, that you will continue to bless us to receive this information, but not hold on to it, and be quick to share it with others, family members, friends, family, loved ones. Lord, we always want to thank you for your love, for your grace, and for your mercy. These and other blessings we ask and pray in your Son, Jesus' name, amen.
Hey, man, y'all see, I'm summer sizzle ready. I ain't never came to Monday Matters looking like summer because we ain't never had it in summer. But I am summer sizzle ready today. So today we are going to talk about real estate. We're going to talk about how to get access to money, which is what Arvest loves to do. Hey, Miss Terry. Sorry, I ain't seen Miss Terry. It's been a minute. Yeah, hi, Miss Terry. Sorry, my bad. My Sunday school class. Shout out to St. Mark's Sunday School. We are going to talk about how we can get money. I'll be honest, I was always one of those people nervous and afraid to go in the bank and ask them for anything. But now I go ask them for everything because it's my bank and that's what I do. And so we've got Arvest here to share about how, we can get access to money, not be nervous about that. We're going to have our ducks in a row and we're going to go in there and get us some dollars to do some things. And then on the back end of that, I'll talk about real estate and how we can use those funds and how you can use real estate to build investment portfolios and how you can also use it to grow wealth for your family for years and years, even after you're not here, right? If you've ever heard of Walton, Rockefeller, right? You hear they're on their 7th generation of money, okay? That's what we want you to be on, okay? We want your grandkids to be on their 7th generation of wealth. And so we'll talk about how we can establish some of that through real estate. And, of course, that all starts with Arvest and us being able to secure funds from them to be able to grow and build. All right? Good stuff? All right, Haley is here. Hey, girl.
Hello.
Yeah, so Haley is a loan officer with Arvest, and tell it to me again. Dre. Dre is also in the mortgage department as well, and so she's going to be here to kind of talk to us about the products and the options and opportunities that we have through Arvest to be able to acquire funds for mortgage loans, okay? You ready to go?
Yeah.
Let's rock and roll.
Let's go.
All right, I'm
Is this working? I talk loud anyway, so I probably don't even need this thing. I'm going to rock some.
No, you got to talk loud. Is that louder?
Louder? Yeah. Oh, there we go.
We got people online that's listening.
Well, I'll talk loud anyway, so they probably shouldn't have gave me a mic, so I'm sorry. And I'm not very good with these either, so hold still with me. But anyway, yes, I'm Haley. I'm with Arvest. Nice to meet you guys. Thanks for having me. I've been with Arvest. It'll be 9 years in August. Thank you, Arvest, for keeping me. I started out as a part-time teller while I was going to college. Had to have the job, makes money, put myself through school. I went to school to be a teacher. I was going to do math and science and then coach because I always played ball, but here I am. Arvest gave me the position to pursue mortgage side, and so I took the opportunity and I loved it. And so now looking back at it, I still kind of get to do that thing that I like to do, which is teach So I get to teach people. I get to play with math every day because, that's very important when it comes to working with people's money. You got to make sure you're doing it right. And then you're just working with people. And instead of kids, I get to do adults and teenagers and things like that. So degree's still there, but just in a different aspect. But I love what I do, and I love working with first-time home buyers. Those are my favorite. So if someone comes to me and has absolutely no idea what they're doing, those are my favorite because I get to coach them and teach them other than having someone come in there and tell me how to do my job kind of thing. No. So, but yeah, so we're just going to kind of go over a little bit about, okay, hello. Excuse that. Just kind of a little bit about the things that we look at when it comes to buying a house, just to kind of see if you're going to be ready. I'm going to kind of go over the things that we kind of look at as a lender as far as, like your debts, your income, your payment plans and things like that. Budgeting, that's the big thing that we do, seeing if you're ready to buy a house. You may not think of all the things that we're going to look at or all the things that you pay a month. When you start adding up all your debts, that Netflix and that Hulu and all those random accounts that you have linked to your account, until we start looking at it, and then you're realizing, okay, I pay more a month than I thought I did. So, but that's kind of what we're going to go over. Sarah? Ma'am? Oh, yeah. Help if I turn it on, huh? Here we go. So these are kind of the goals that we're going to talk about today. So we got, reviewing the costs and responsibilities associated with home ownership. So the things that are going to go into your payment, what it looks like. We're going to explore the loan and the repayment process. So what goes into paying your loan and how long you pay for it. And then we're going to learn how to find out if you are financially ready to own a home. So that's where we're going to dive into those expenses that, you don't often probably look at, that you will look at when it comes to buy a home. So, when owning a home, you have a lot of pros and cons, and there's a lot of things that you don't think about that may be a con, but necessarily it's not a con, but it's just not the best part of things. So, for instance, if your home is an asset, so raise a hand if you think that's a pro or that's a con. Raise your hand if you think it's a pro. Okay, raise your hand if you think that's a con. No right or wrong answer. Okay, what about you need to make payments towards your home? Raise your hand if you think it's a pro. Raise your hand if you think it's a con. It is what it is. All right, you need to pay taxes on a home. Is that a pro or? What about a con? There you go. All right, and then you can remodel your home any way you like. Raise your hand if you think that's a pro. Exactly. You want your door purple, pink, whatever, you can do what you want. That's what I always tell people when they come in. I'm like, that's the difference between owning a home and renting. You can do what you want. You want to knock out this wall and do this. You want to put a big flower pot in the front door, do what you want. Okay, so we're going to review those. So there was no right or wrong on those. Actually, each one of them has a pro and has a con. So when you own your home, it's an asset. So the pro of that is the value in the home that you get over the time is a pro for you. You can use that equity to buy another house, or, use that equity to pay off debt, or, use that equity to buy another house, and build your investments as you go down the road. The con of that is, the value of the home over time, it's one of those things, it could go up and it could go down. It's just how the market is. It's one of the things we can't control, right? You need to make payments towards a home. Obviously a pro, every month that payment you make, a little portion of that's going towards your principal, so it's paying it down. The con of that is you need to make a down payment on the front end, but not necessarily. There's other options, and we'll get to that later on. You need to pay taxes on a home. Unfortunately, you got to. Pro homeowners may be able to deduct that property tax. So every year, you get a form and you can, possibly deduct that on your taxes. So that's a pro. You pay it, but you get a little bit of credit at the end of the year or beginning of the year. Obviously the con is paying it in general. So straight to the point, right? And then, you can remodel your home any way you like. Pro, obviously, you can decorate your home, do what you want to with it. It's yours, Con, you're responsible for the repairs and the maintenance. So if you think you're a plumber and you go and knock out some stuff and you mess it up, guess who has to pay for it? You do. So be generous with your remodeling, I say. So these are some common terms that we use in the mortgage world. Your income history, debt to income, credit score, down payment. These are the things that we're really going to knock into when it comes to if you're qualified to purchase at that time. Not just because you're not ready at that time doesn't mean you're not ever going to be ready. So that's why you have people like us that coach you through it and get you ready when you, okay? So, income, that's going to be salary, tips, bonus, commission. There's lots of different incomes. There's lots of different roles that we can look at stuff. Certain history, you have to have it longer than the other. But I've not yet seen an income that we can't use. It's just how and when we can use it, right? So, and how it's documented. So if it's just side work, going out and mowing yards, or you have a little Etsy account, things like that. That stuff's different. It's going to be depending on how you document it and how we can look at it. I always tell everybody, like, if you're going to do it, that's fine. Just know that we're going to have to show it somewhere. You can't just come in and be like, hey, here's my checking account. You see these PayPal stuff's coming in. I can't look at that, right? So that's one thing you can look at on income. History. History is very important. So when it comes to that, tips or commission or bonuses and things like that, majority of the time a loan program is going to want to see that for at least 2 years. So just kind of keep that in mind when it comes to those. Like I said, no income can't be used, but there's going to be a history that we have to look for on that kind of stuff. Debt to income ratio. So that's where we're going to look at your monthly debts. And when we qualify borrowers, we don't necessarily look at everything that comes out of your account. When we qualify you, we're really looking at the stuff that's on the credit report, right? That's what, on paper, that's what we're qualifying you as. But me, or as a lender, we're still going to want to know how much other stuff comes out of your account. I want you to be ready and not think about those things. Those things are going to come every month, so you have to be prepared on the outside of what's on that credit report too, okay? Credit score, obviously. Credit scores can be fun. Loaning those things out. Things happen. We get in tight spots. We got to make up for that. Some people come to me. You'll be surprised how many people come in and don't have a credit score at all. That's great. I mean, that's fine. I know my grandpa was one of those. If he didn't have the money to buy it, he wasn't going to loan for it. So he was one of those that didn't have a credit score. So teaching kids these days when they come to my office that don't have a credit score, we can teach that. We can fix that. But having a bad score and coming back from that, that's where the time it's going to take to get back from that. So we want to start on a good foot, right? And then down payment. I mean, there's all different types of loan scenarios that are out there. Every different loan program requires a different down payment. But I tell everyone that comes in, just because you don't have the money set aside doesn't mean you're not ready. We have loan programs that assist with that. But if you do have it, that's great, because that's less money you got to borrow, right? Less money you got to pay back. But don't just feel like just because you don't have the money that there's not options out there. We have lots of loan programs that we'll talk about in a little bit that kind of give you that downplay of that. So the 5 C's of credit. This all takes into place of what a lender looks at and sees if you're capable and if you're ready to buy a house at that time. So you got capacity, your present and future ability to meet your payment obligations. If you have debts and you're making your payment, that's great. You have debts, you're not making your payment, that doesn't look good, right? So that's the capacity we're going to be looking at. Capital, your assets. Are you saving money? Do you have savings account? Do you have cash at home? Do you have, CDs that are building interest, things that are showing that you have funds set aside just in case there's an emergency? Like, do you have that? Collateral. Do you have other things that, are secured loan on? Do you have vehicles that you have collateral on? Do you have boats, other houses, things that have value that you could possibly dig into if you needed it? Character. That's the history of delivering your commitments. Do you show that you made your payments in the past? Do you show good credit standing? You making your payments on time? Are you making extra payments? You making extra, towards your principal, paying things off early? Or are you just making that minimum every month? Which is fine. You're making your payments on time. That's the main thing. But they will take into consideration if you don't hold loans for a certain period of time, that kind of thing. And then conditions, the purpose of the loan or any factors that might impact the loan or affect your ability to repay. So if you've, once again, it's going back to that history. Are you showing that you don't make these payments? Are you having charge-offs or collections where you just stop making payments and things like that? So all of these take into consideration when they look at credit. And that's not necessarily anything as a lender does. That's what the credit bureaus do. These are the things that they look at, and that's how you get your score. Miss Christina. So this is what I mean by breaking down your budget. So it's always good if you haven't ever done this before. It's really interesting. Like I said, pull your bank statements out. Look at these payments that come out. You'll be surprised at stuff that you forgot you signed up for and you still pay for. I recently did this on myself just because I was curious, because I'm one of those, like if there's a show on TV and I want to watch it, but it's not on an app that I have. Oh, it's $10 a month? Sure. Pfft. And then I forget about it, and then I pull my bank statement, and I'm like, where's the $10 going every month? And I'm like, what is this account? And I watch that one show, and I don't watch it no more. So I'm like, I could have been saving myself that $10. So it's always good to look at stuff, because you forget about things. We're human. That stuff happens, but it's good because you could save yourself. Another instance, I was in Florida one time on a family vacation, and this is going to sound really bad of me, but my family went out and did something. I didn't want to go that day. I just wanted to stay at the hotel, and I was hungry, and they didn't have a vehicle there for me, so I Uber Eats me some food. Anybody ever Uber Eats food before? Well, there was a little button on the bottom that said if you did this, it saves you like $3 on your delivery fee. Well, I guess I clicked it, didn't know it, but I actually signed up for like the premium Uber Eats. I live in, I don't know if you guys know where this is, but Clinton, Arkansas. Anybody know where Clinton is at? Hello. We have nothing there. There's no Uber Eats for me to order food. So from the whole time that I left Florida till I get home, and 3 months down the road, there's this $5 fee coming out of my account every month. And I'm like, what is this? It's Uber Eats. I don't even use it anymore. So things like that is what you find on your statement that you've been paying for and you didn't know about it. Always look at your statements. Even if it's digital, look at them. Pay attention. But this lady, so these are her needs and her wants. So needs are obviously things that come out that she has to pay. You got to pay your car payment. You got to pay your credit card payments, insurance, household expenses. We all have to eat. I guess she needs clothes a lot because her clothes are on their shopping sprees. And then she has her wants. So, it looks like maybe one day she didn't want to take leftovers and she got fast food. She likes to go take your kids to movies maybe. You got cable TV and then the cell phone. Cell phones are pretty much needed for all jobs these days. So this is very good to do. Like if you haven't done it, try to do it. Just break your statement out. Look at everything you pay a month. Like I said, it's not just necessary things that's on your credit report. It's these things over here that you might not need, clothing, but you're paying for it. Like I said, those apps, Hulu, all of those accounts. Just write it all down in a letter. Show everything that you had to pay. But make sure you put on there your wants too. Like maybe if you want to go out to eat, once a week, or, you want to be able to take your kids to a movie or amusement park or things like that. Just kind of break it all down and total it all up and look what you pay a month. You'd be very surprised at what it looks like. But these are the kind of things that we're going to look at. And this kind of lets you know what you want to pay a month in a mortgage too. Like I said, that's my big goal, is I want people to feel comfortable when they go in to buy a house. Like it's not necessarily what's on paper. I want to know what you want to pay. On paper, you may be able to afford $1,500, but in your mind, you don't want to go over $1,000. That's fine. That's your goal. That's your payment. That's what we're going to look at. I'm not showing anything over that, right? So try to do this one night. Sit down, make your plan, look and see what you got paying on. So for instance, this is where I'll talk about debt to income. This is where we're going to really dive into on the mortgage side. Every loan program has their own guidelines of what we have to look at. Now, this is not necessarily something you need to do. As a lender, this is what we're going to work on and we're going to talk about. But as a borrower, it's always good to know what your debt to income is. This lets you know if maybe I need to pay some stuff off. Maybe I need to save some more money. Maybe I need to readjust some things around, get to on that level where I need to be. So as a debt to income, this is really going to be what's on your credit report. So all those extra things that I don't know about, I don't see those. All I'm looking at is what's on your credit report. So that's where it's really good for you to break down what's on your own statements, right? As far as Hulu or I keep saying Hulu. Why does that keep coming to mind? That's the first thing that comes to mind when I think of things off there. Does anybody have Hulu? Anybody have Hulu? No? Yeah? Mm-hmm. What shows y'all watch? Any good shows? Handmaid's Tale. Is that what you just said? Oh, that's good. Is that Netflix? Is that Hulu? What else? Anything else? Oh, okay. What was that? Okay. I don't even know what I'm watching right now. I have all of them, and I just skip around. I get bored a lot. Especially if there's those shows that drag it out, and they got like 10 seasons, but I have the 5th season. If it ain't done, I don't even know what happens. I'm over it. So I'm skipping to the next. If you get on my Hulu or Netflix, there's about 6-7 shows that are started and not finished. Don't judge me. All right, so let's see here. So anyway, debt to income ratio. So this is really important when it comes to loans. This is what we're going to look at. Student loans. That's a very big topic right now. I don't hardly see anyone that comes into my office that doesn't have a student loan, which is fine. But just know, even if they're on deferred or if they're set up on an income-driven repayment plan, no matter what they're done, we have to show that in your debt to income. So if you're on that income-driven repayment plan, which is based on what your income is, that's great. You have the documents for that. I'm using that payment. But if you have them on deferred, which a lot of people's are right now because they're trying to get it, waived if they're forgiven and things like that, depending on which program we look at, we're having to count either 1% or 0.5% of what that balance is in your debt to income. So for some, that's not a big deal if they have, small student loans. But I've had some that come across my office. Their payment alone for that student loan is a mortgage payment, right? So, like I said, so yours has always been where you haven't paid it on that? Do you have documentation to show that you don't have to pay anything? I can use that. If they tell you ain't got to pay nothing, then yeah. Is it deferred until then, or it just says deferred? So that's what I'm saying. So some people, the income-driven repayment means they re-sign up for it. I just have to look at it. So it depends on what it says. Because I've had some people that come in and have done that income-driven repayment stuff, and they take your debts and what you make, and they say, okay, well, we don't really need to take money from you. We're going to set it up on zero, and then you're going to have to resubmit this next year. And if that's the case, then sometimes I can use that zero. But if they're just deferred, just saying oh, you ain't got to pay it back right now, because some kids are still in school, or if you're still taking classes, yours are deferred. So that's different. They'll still make me count a payment on that. Majority of the time on those income-driven repayment ones, the payment will pull through when I pull that credit report in. It'll show the $20 or $30 that you have to pay each month, and that's what I have to go by, which is better than me having to count 1 or 0.5% of what that balance is, right? So, but student loans are a big thing. So if you're not on those payment plans and you're just deferred, not necessarily do you need to take it out of that deferment, but just look at your options. There's options out there of how they set those up and how you can pay those back without being deferred. If you have a small balance, then like I said, just calculate what that 1% or that 0.5% of that balance is, and that's what a lender's going to look at. So if it's a small amount, I wouldn't mess with it, because majority of the time that income-driven payment plan might be a little higher than what it has to be. But just know we still have to count those. So depending on how it's set up, we look at that. Car payments, we love those. Minimum credit card payments. So that key word there is minimum. Whatever pulls in on your credit report. Say your credit card payment's $20 a month, but you actually pay $100. That's great. But we only have to count the 20. So you don't have to feel bad about if you pay extra. We have to put that on there. I'm literally looking at what your minimum payment is. But know that minimum payment, majority of the time, is going to be based on how much that balance is on that credit card. So if I pre-qualify you on the front end and you only had $300 on that credit card and your minimum payment was $30, and then you go out and spend $1,000 on that credit card, now that minimum payment's going to shift. It's going to shift my debt to income. It's going to shift what you're qualified for. Now we're starting over kind of thing, right? So just be aware of that. I've had a lot of people come in and do that. They'll get pre-qualified and they'll be like, all right, I'm in the clear. I need new dishwasher. And they'll go out and spend money, or jack that credit card back up on me, and then they're coming back and we pull that soft credit. Now their payment's shifted, and now they're upset. But just know we look at that. We pull it on the front end. We don't necessarily pull it again, but we will make sure that you haven't adjusted anything on me in the time frame that we have got you qualified, right?
Haley.
Sir, yes, sir.
So I know we went through this a little fast. So
I'm sorry.
No. I just want to slow down just a little bit and just ask a really quick question. So you touched on it, why it's important to not go out, once you're pre-qualified, to not go out and establish any new debt, because then it could affect your debt to income ratio the next time you run the calculation.
Correct. Yes, sir. So like I said, we pull your credit on the front end, and that's what we pre-qualify you off on. So I always have that conversation with my borrowers, like what we see here now is what we're going off of. So like it's not good to go out and spend more money on those credit cards and change that. It's not good to go out and get new credit cards. It's not good to quit your job or change jobs, like
buy
anything
a new car,
like that. Buy a new car,
buy
like
furniture,
any of that stuff. Now, the day after you sign, girl, go for it. Go buy everything you need to buy. No, I literally had a person one time, they were buying a lake house on Grease Ferry. Anybody know where that's at? Grease Ferry Lake, that's where I'm from. And they were buying a lake house, and which is great to be able to do that. And this still gives me nightmares. I told them, don't go out and spend money. Don't go out and do anything that's going to change what we got you qualified on, right? And what did they do? Next day he calls me. He was like, you will never guess what I bought yesterday. Immediately dropped. Mic drop. I said, I hope it was, with cash that you saved. And he was like, no, man, they had an awesome deal on this boat down the road. He was like, I have a boat dock. I can't have a boat dock without a boat. I was like, really, dude? And so luckily it didn't hurt anything, but I was like, well, let's go back to this first conversation we had. And I said, don't buy anything. So I had to add that in there, okay? So we're in the clear. We're moving forward. House is almost done. We can see the finish line. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. We made it through. And we pull that soft credit at the end. And my processor calls me and she's like, Haley, we have a problem. And I'm like, don't do this to me. What's the problem? Well, it looks like they went out and got a new credit card. And I said, where? And they said, at some furniture store. And I said, no. So I call them, and the wife needed new furniture for this new house she had. I was like, you couldn't wait 2 days? We close in 2 days. And so, once again, had to pull all that in, and readjust their debt, and luckily it was still fine. But it could have been a nightmare. They could have been 2 days from closing and not closed because they had that, right? Just listen to your lender. We're your friends. Like, honesty is key for me. Like, if you want to go out and buy something, tell me, so I can tell you that's not a good idea. But honesty. If you have stuff that you need to buy, then we're gonna look at maybe doing that before we start the mortgage process, right? If it's something that's needed, like a gentleman yesterday was like, Haley, my car broke down. I need to buy a new car. That's fine. I understand. You gotta have that car to go to work, right? So let's look at getting you your car. Let's see what that payment's going to be, and then let's look at your DTI again and make sure you're okay. He's fine. He can still buy a house. He's great. But, just having those conversations, those needs and those wants are very important to break down and look at, right? Is there anything else you guys think of that you want to ask? Yeah, go ahead. So it depends on which loan program, right? So the ideal they want you to stay at is under 43%. So 43% is that kind of golden number they want you to be under. And depending on which loan program, there's obviously a little room we can wiggle up to, right? And then you have your down payment assistance loans, which we're going to talk about. Those have to be under 45. But when I have borrowers come in, when we look at these, we look at it obviously without a mortgage, because most of mine are first-time home buyers. So we're going to look at your debt to income, and if you're at 43, then I'm like, okay, we probably have some wiggle room to purchase a house at this time. And if not, then we're going to look at these things like maybe those credit cards. Can we get those paid down and remove that off of there? Or just move some stuff, those student loans, if they don't have those set up on those income-driven repayment plans and we're having to count for that balance, then that might be the time that I tell them, hey, let's look at these options to see if we can get that income-driven repayment in there, and maybe that's going to be less than that 1% that we have to count. Because I think you can call those and discuss with someone on that, and they can kind of tell you what your payment may look like before you actually agree to that. I've had borrowers call in and they'll discuss those payment plans and stuff with them, and then they would tell me, and I'm like, oh, well, that works, and then they can agree if they want to pay that or not. But things like that is what we would look at as far as, is there anything we can remove to get you back under that debt to income percentage that we need to be at. And like I said, of course, it varies from different program, and that's a thing that me as a lender is going to look at to see which loan program best fits you as far as where your debt to income is at that point. If we can do something without having to pay off some debts, then obviously that's a plus.
Haley, we've got one question here.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to know that if you're currently renting, do they consider that into your debt to income when basically if you're buying a home, that rent would no longer
Be there, yeah.
Yeah.
So no, we don't have to count that in there. But me, as a lender, that's the first thing I'm going to ask if someone's renting. I was like, do you rent or do you live with someone and you don't have to pay rent? If you rent right now, like, what's your rent payment? And I'm like, are you comfortable with that payment? Is that like your comfort zone? And that's kind of where we started. But no, we don't have to include that in there because obviously that'll go away. Once you get approved, yeah. So when we pull your credit's good for 120 days. That credit score that you get is good for 120 days. So I don't really like to say you're set on a time frame of that's going to expire, because after those 120 days, it would just be a matter of updating that credit score and removing that old credit report off there and putting that new one on there. So I don't like to give a time frame that because no one's limited when they can find a house. In this market, it's fun finding one that fits everything that you want or in your budget, right? So we don't want you to feel rushed, but your credit report is good for 120 days, and then we'd have to repull it. So if in that time frame after I pulled it, you've changed anything as far as paid debts down or got new debts, and that score could change. So that's where it could affect you as far as if you're still pre-qualified, right? No, so in that time frame, you're still making your payments, right? So your score should bounce back up. It is a hard hit, so it will hit it, but in that 120 days, by that time, that score should be back to where it should be, if not higher, if you've paid your debts down since then. So you won't see Arvest hit on there twice. Does that make sense? Because on your credit report, has anyone ever looked at a credit report before? Yeah. Oh, yeah. You teach them that, right? Okay. At the bottom, it shows like inquiries, however you want to say it. I have slang talk. I'm sorry. I'm very hick sometimes. At the bottom, it tells you like who's, huh? Yes, I'm from Clinton. Yeah. Excuse me. Some people don't know where that is. I'm proud y'all know where that's at. Actually, yeah.
Would the criteria change for building a home?
So building a home, it is a whole different.
And you own the property.
So you own the land, you want to build on that land. Yeah. So as far as, so there's a difference between a construction loan and a purchase. So a construction loan is temporary. So you're only you're using that loan to build your home. So it's got 12 months, you got to get that thing done. So as far as credit score wise, yes. I think their credit score is a little higher than what we require on the mortgage side. And then as far as like down payment and things like that, it's a whole different setup for them because theirs is based on like what your property is going to appraise for once the construction's done, and they have like a certain percent that they can loan to you on that. But with Arvest, or like I said, with me, the way I look at it is when you want to build a home, I'm going to have you still come to me and let me look at your stuff, because at the end of the day, that construction loan is temporary. It's 12 months, and once that's done, I'm going to take back over and I'm going to put you in that fixed mortgage. So I want to make sure that when you're done building that house and you come to me, you're prepared, right? So it's hard to say, yeah, because I don't want to speak on the construction side because I don't do those. But I know their credit score. Do you do those?
Well, I just wanted to comment on what she was going to say.
Yeah.
So, like, when you first decide that you want to build a home on that land or whatever, while you got the loan, your monthly payment is only going to be interest on it.
Correct.
And so they're going to appraise and see if the house is worth based off the blueprint before they start. And so it has, at the end, it needs to appraise for that number. But, you know, some people change up stuff like they might want a porch or they might want this and that. It can go higher. You kind of have to get approved for that higher amount.
Yes. That's why I say we always like still try to have that conversation with our borrowers. I know we do on the construction side is you may come in and you're like, Haley, I think I want to build. And I'm like, that's great. And then, you know, do you own your own land yet? And they'll say yes or no. And then if you have a balance on that, and then we kind of look at that. But you still have a goal, right, that you want to pay monthly as a mortgage payment. So I still kind of construct that up because on my side, you know, you're going to have taxes, insurance, and things like that. And like he said, you're strictly paying interest on that thing over there. So at the end of the day, we still want to look at your debt to income once it comes to a mortgage and make sure you're going to be comfortable with that payment before you start that construction side, because you're going to qualify easily on that side with an interest-only payment as you would on our side. Does that make sense? So, like I said, we kind of still guide our borrowers on that, and we still look at their goal and what they want to do. Some come to me and they want to build, and they have no idea how much they need to build for. So that's where that monthly payment goal comes in, and you tell me I don't want to pay over $1,500 a month. So I'm going to work that up and show you what that $1,500 a month payment looks like, and I'm going to give you that loan amount, and then you know, okay, I can go buy land and I can build a house for this amount, and then knowing that when it comes to my side, you're going to be in that goal range. That makes sense? It's kind of a step-by-step kind of thing. We have that conversation a lot, and it's really nice to guide borrowers on that, because some come to us and they already have that cost estimate worked up, and they don't realize what their mortgage payment's going to be until I tell them, and then they're like, okay, maybe I need to change this a little bit. But it's fine to backtrack a little bit. The construction side's a plus. We have a really good construction team here too that have those conversations, and that's a lot of people are doing that these days. They don't find those houses out there that fit their needs or their sizes or things like that, so they want to build it from the ground up, and that's fine too. I mean, it's the same process. We're still looking at the same things, looking at debt to income, looking at your, monthly debts, looking at your credit score. So that's always an option.
Haley, can you talk about the pre-approval process?
Yeah. So when a borrower comes to me and we want to get you pre-qualified, that first conversation is going to be what your goal is. What are you looking for? Do you have funds set aside for a down payment or anything that we may need? Do you have a monthly payment goal in mind? Do you maybe know what your credit score is? Things like that. So I have that initial conversation with you. You tell me what you like and what you don't like about that, and then we're going to, on the first hand, I'm going to work it up manually. I'm just old school like that. I want to play with numbers before we hit that credit, right? I'm going to make you write me out a plan. I want to see what your monthly debts are. I want to know all of it. I want to see it. We're going to have that discussion. Is there anything on here that you may be paying off anytime soon? Anything that you may be needing to get anytime soon that we may need to go ahead and add in to show, right? That new car, or, you have home maintenance or something on your rent, or you need to get fixed up, right? So then we're going to walk through that goal, and we're going to break all that stuff down. I'm going to kind of estimate what the payment looks like. I'm going to show you that. I'm going to have a worksheet I work up, show you what everything looks like on that, and you're going to tell me what you don't or don't like about it. Are you scared of that payment? Does that payment maybe not look like you want it to? Does that down payment scare you? Do you not think you can save that money? Do we need to look at loan programs that maybe assist with that? And I can show you what those payments look like. Once I get you comfortable and I get you to tell me what makes you comfortable, maybe what we need to work on, and then at that point, once I have that goal, then that's when we can actually fill out an application. That's how you actually get pre-qualified. I have to pull your credit. I have to pull those debts in. I got to make sure your score's there. Once I pull that through, I'm going to work that file up just like we talked about and what we made our goal on. And at that point, we'll run it through the system. And I'm going to show you multiple options, whether it's you saving up your own money, or if we have if we need to look at those loan programs that assist with that. So when I say assist with that, we have a loan program, what we call rural development. Anybody ever heard of that? Seen that online before? So that's a program. It's based on, where you're looking at living. Normally it's going to be on the outskirts of the city limits, kind of in the rural area, obviously. And those require no down payment. So that sounds nice, right? Sound real good, right? So those require no down payment. So then you just have to worry about closing costs, which I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like here in a minute. But then you just have to worry about closing costs. Or if you don't want to look outside of the city limits, that's fine too. We have what we call our ADFA program, which is based here out of Little Rock. I do those every day. You'd just be surprised how often we do those. If you look it up, they have a website. It's called ADFA, Arkansas Department of Financial. Don't give me a line. I'll look it up and tell you. But you can pull up on their website. They have multiple different options you can look at, and they're based on like your income. And it doesn't matter where you go. You can be in the city limits. You can be outside of the city limits, wherever you want to go. But they base it on your income, and you can borrow up to $15,000 to go towards closing costs and or down payment. So you borrow it. It's not a grant. I wish we used to have a grant. I miss those. They got rid of that one. So that one can be for any of the people. You can be first-time home buyers or repurchasing another home. It doesn't matter. They don't have that first-time home buyers program where you used to get the grant funds, and it was called ADDIE. They got rid of it. Do what, ma'am? I don't know what that is. Is that something here in Little Rock? And it may. Now, there are lots of programs out there that maybe just Arvest doesn't, link with and stuff. There are stuff like there's one out of Dallas. I know Centennial uses that a lot, but we just started on it too. But they do certain draws. But it's a grant. You can borrow money up to like $20,000, I think, on it, and you don't have to pay it back as long as you plan to live in the house for a certain period of time. Now, there are lots of programs out there. Maybe this might be something that Arvest links with, or we've been accepted to use. But I'll have to look into that one. I guess I don't know what that one is. Yeah.
What if someone files bankruptcy but come out of bankruptcy? What is the process or what's the time frame of them trying to buy a house?
Yeah, so it just depends on which one.
Or like if the spouse didn't file but you did.
Yeah. So it just depends on if they're both going to be on there or both not. And it depends on which one. You got the 7, 13, and what's the other one? 14, I think, maybe? 12? 12, yeah, there you go. It depends on which one, and it depends on which loan program. And it's going to depend on if it's been dismissed or discharged. So they go from that dismissal or discharge date, and it's either 2 or 4 years, depending on, I think conventional is 2 or 4 years, and then one's 4 years. So they'll look at that. And like I said, it goes by discharged or dismissed. There's 2 different ones. Dismissed is like a certain time frame, and then discharged is a certain time frame. And it's going to depend on which bankruptcy that you filed as well, too. But people still can, if they'll still be on their credit report, and we can still get them approved as long as that dismissal or discharge date's at that time frame we need to be at. Does that help? Yeah. What do you repeat that? Mm-hmm. Is she gonna make you pay for it, or are you just like signing it over?
No, she's making me pay for it.
I don't know anything outside of a bank. I don't know. I mean, depending on how much she's going to make you pay for it or whatnot. I mean, do you have anything you can like use for collateral? I mean, but that's still using a bank.
Okay, I have a question. She won't 150,000 for it, but she want to charge me, I think, 5.80% APR. So I think the house comes out to like $200 and some thousand.
So she doing maybe like a rent to own, like owner finance kind of thing with you?
Yes.
People do that all the time. So it's a contract. I mean, you'll still have to sign that contract, and you'll be legally you're binded by that.
My next question is, if the house is not like I want it to be for that much on a 15-year fix, I mean, can she fix it for me? How does that work?
You hitting me with the questions. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's just it's not with the bank. I mean, we don't have legal. You don't have anything to legally hold her to anything, right? Because I mean, it's just a contract between her.
She's writing a contract up.
You're gonna file it. You're gonna get it notarized and file with the. Anybody else want to answer that question? Where's Marcus?
My aunt has a house. What are the legal procedures that I need to take to purchase her home without going through a mortgage company?
Most of the time, I mean, you can write the contract up and everything, have it legally notarized and everything like that, filed with the county. Now, it'd be owner finance, so it would be a conversation between you and her, but you'll still have to go to a title company to close.
Oh, okay.
Regardless, if you get a mortgage or anything, you gotta go get it closed. So you'll have to pay that out of pocket. Now, what you say about her fixing the house?
Yeah, if I wanted, if the bedroom was too small, or I wanted it bigger, I wanted to,
You want that done before you buy
Yes.
But that's another conversation you gotta have. But I'm just saying or you can buy the house and if this has equity, you can walk into your local artist bank and do your home equity line of credit.
It's hard to avoid that bank question. It's hard to avoid that bank question. It still kind of goes back to that.
But I'm just saying, it's either she fixes it before you buy, or after you already signed that paper and it's yours and you pay, now you gotta fix it. It's really not a problem no more after that. However, if you want that bigger bedroom, like I said, it's either you need to do it beforehand or you can get your own line of credit and do it. Either way it goes, you probably don't have to use the bank, to be honest, in a way, unless you already got it on. Just being honest.
Are you saying you don't think it's worth what she's trying to sell it to you for?
No, I don't think it's worth it.
Oh, well, don't pay that. No, I'm just kidding. That's definitely gonna be the conversation between y'all because,
She needs to sell it to you so you can have room to fix it.
Exactly.
yeah, you can have that conversation. Let her know if you're selling it to me as is, and I want to do these things. Maybe the value needs to change. Kind of the purchase price.
It's a negotiation.
No question is dumb. No question. Oh.
They're online, they can't hear you.
In today's market, from a banking perspective, a lot of people are reverting to tiny homes or even it still could be a double-wide mobile home. At the current time, does Arvest provide loans for that type of purchase, or do you have to get a personal loan?
We do mobile homes all the time.
What about the tiny homes?
The tiny homes is going to be the one you're going to may run into a little bit of issues on. And it's not saying that we don't finance them. It's finding comps, and that'll be like what Ms. Camille can back me up on is when you do an appraisal on these properties, you have to have properties that we can find value and match and give that value to you. And tiny homes just aren't as big of a hit yet to have that comps.
Question. I've been looking at them and put it on family property, maybe, possibly. And the tiny homes cost more than some fixer-upper single dwelling homes. So in some places, you have to get a personal loan if you don't pay cash for it.
And there are certain institutions out there that specialize just in the tiny homes kind of thing. I had a guy recently that there's a company here in Little Rock that does specifically tiny home stuff, and they do their own financing kind of thing. Now, are you talking about just having one built out there, or are you talking about buying one of those that's already built and set it up out there?
Potentially purchasing one, or and/or a mobile home, but you do finance mobile homes.
Yes, ma'am. And
They're
we
not
do.
questionable.
Yep.
Okay.
We do mobile homes. We do those all the time, whether it's a mobile home that's already on the property and you're buying one that's for sale where it is, or if you're wanting to purchase some land and purchase a mobile home and move it to that land, we do those. Whether they're brand new from the dealership or if it's someone down the street that's selling their mobile home and you want to move it on some land, we can do that too. It's an in-house product. So mobile homes don't scare me. I learned how to do those when I first started because no one wanted to touch them, and I'm like, I'm going to learn this one. So mobile homes are simple. Tiny houses, a little different story. Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry. The ADFA has an income-based loan for down payment or closing costs?
Yes, ma'am, and or
Okay.
closing costs. Yes,
Oh,
you can
and or.
borrow up to $15,000, and it can be used for either or.
Okay.
Or both. Yes. So the way those work is you have your main mortgage is going to be set up on a 30-year fixed, and then whatever you borrow for that down payment and or closing costs is going to be set up on a 10-year fixed. So you do have a payment that adds in there. So it does adjust that debt to income. Well, when we show it on there, it's going to show us two separate, but we do combine it under one payment and show you what your total monthly payment will be under that. So you have, like I said, so let's say you do a Smart Start. That's one of the programs. If you look up on that website, you'll see that Smart Start's like one of the has the lowest income on the lowest interest rate on there right now. I think it's like 5.5. So you'll have a 30-year fix. Let's say you buy a house for $100,000. You're going to have that set up on a 30-year at 5.5%. And then let's say you borrow $10,000. You're going to have that $10,000 set up on a 10-year at that 5.5. So you're still going to be paying interest on both of them. That's just the Smart Start program. That's not our interest rates on. That's just that special ADFA file. ADFA sends us our rates every day. They go by their own rates. They don't. Whatever they send me that day, that's what we go by. And I think, like I said, they're at 5. They may be at 5.875, 5.5%, somewhere around there. They send them every day, though. But those are income-based ones. But if you can look up on there, that one, we do that one a lot. It's very helpful. So, good question. So we pull your FICO. So we pull from all three, Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. Pull all three, and we use your middle one. Whatever the middle one of those three are is what we use to qualify you. No, sir. So say your Equifax is 600, 610, 615. I'm going to use the 615, whether it's any three of those. Whatever one the middle score is what we use. No, I was just telling you. I wish. Some places might. Now, I will say there are instances like conventional. Say there's two of you on there, we can take the average, but the majority of your credit score requirements is going to be a 620 across. Yeah.
Okay. So before I get like a home loan or anything, how, like I personally want to get a new credit card with better benefits. But do I need to do that before I go in to get pre-qualified, and how long should I wait since it'll be new?
So do you have one right now and you're just going to like transfer it over to a new one, or are you talking about a complete different one?
Like
Transfer it over?
Yeah.
I would probably transfer it over and see. Because, I mean, you don't know what it's going to be until you transfer it over, right? So it would be hard for us if we got you pre-qualified based on what it is now, and if it transferred over, what if it got worse? And I'm not saying it would, but what if your payment got worse or something, you know? But I would go ahead and transfer it over, and, I mean, there's not really no wait time you have to wait on after that. It's not going to ding anything. But you'll know what your payment is, and you'll have an accurate pre-qual at that point, right?
Okay.
Yeah. That's time. I was slow on that. I'm sorry. Any last questions? Last one? No? Okay. Well, I'm in Conway, so I'm working at Oak Street in Conway, but I kind of go everywhere. I bounce to Little Rock some. I go to Jacksonville a lot. Anybody been to the Jacksonville branch over there? I go over there. That's where I very first started. That's where I was hired at, so I bounce over there. I meet customers anywhere. If you're in Little Rock and you need me to come to Little Rock, we can come to Little Rock, but my office is in Conway. And I'm pretty sure everyone uses the middle score. We all pull your FICO on the mortgage side. Now, like consumer side, when you do vehicles, they only pull one, but we pull 3 on the mortgage side. Ready for?
Okay, so
Eat.
we're coming up on time, so thank you for your questions. Let's give Haley a round of applause. Thank you. So we are going to break. We've got pizza this evening for you, so all sorts of pizza that you guys have made a special request for. Not really. We just got a lot of assortment, so I got you, didn't I? Okay, so we're going to bless the food, and so if we'll just form a line like we always do, come here, past me, and we'll get you through the serving line real quickly, or as quickly as possible, okay? Will you bow with me? Lord, we want to say thank you again for another session. Thank you for Haley. Thank you for this information. Lord, we ask that you would bless this food for nourishment of our bodies. In Christ's name, amen. Let's eat.
know how much joy is in my heart that I don't have no heels on today. I get so tired of being 4'8" and putting on heels to make other people feel comfortable. It is summer sizzle. I am fresh out of the NWA from vacation, and I said I'm wearing my vacation clothes and my flats. Come on here, Ross. That's Ross. That's Ross. Yeah, $14.99. Y'all know how I do. Huh? Haley done told y'all put your needs and wants on that paper and make sure you got a budget spending plan for them. I had spending plan for these. All right, so we've got some questions from our online family out there. Haley, did I hit you with a microphone? Okay. Someone asked, on the RVest loans, do they require a down payment? I'm sorry, I'm kidding. The RVest loans for the mobile homes, do they require down payment?
Correct.
Okay. Y'all got that online?
It just depends on which loan program and which, if it's a double wide or a single wide, there's lots of different things. But yes, they do require a down payment. You can't go RD on those.
Okay. Is it best to sell your home before trying to purchase a new one?
No, so we can pre-qualify you if you own your current home, and we can exclude that as long as you plan to, sell that the same day or prior to buying your new one.
And last one from online, does RVest have loan programs available for home upgrades?
So home improvement loans, yes, we do. So we have HELOCs where you can borrow, or we have separate loan programs where it doesn't use the equity in your home. It just goes off of your credit score and your debt to income, and you can use those to improve your home as well.
Thank you. That's all I got. Thank you. You want this back? Take a sit back. Okay. They'll need it. All right. How many homeowners in the house already? Where the homeowners at? All right. Hey, homeowners. Anybody in here own grandma's house? All right. Anybody in here own uncle's land? Okay. Well, we're going to get there. And we trying to get your mama stuff, right? Oh, that's your mama? Oh, you the one charging too much. Do y'all want this show on Netflix or Hulu? Which one y'all want it on? She want to be the bank. Okay, I ain't mad. That's y'all. That's your auntie. All right. we got a strategy to make that work for both of y'all, to maximize that for both of you. We do. We'll get us a strategy. All right, so I am Jamil Thomas. I got to this class by coming to this class. So when I was 29, I already knew Deacon Thomas all my life. But I was born and raised St. Mark, baby, you just know. I was living my best life. I had a job. I was making a little money. I was a school teacher. I had benefits. I had 6 cancer policies. So if I got cancer, baby, I was going to be good. Now, if I had a stroke, I don't know what was going to happen. But Deacon Thomas sat me down, and he said, hey, we need to talk about how you spend money. I like the shoes. You're looking good. But we need to talk about how you spend money. I said, okay, Deacon Thomas. And so, at 29, that started my journey to financial literacy and also financial freedom. And one of the things I can say is that, Deacon Thomas took the time to give me something that my parents couldn't give me, right? My parents had worked all of their lives, have done what my great-grandparents and my grandparents told them to do, but that wasn't necessarily producing wealth in our family. Every time somebody was dying in our family, we were starting back over at zero. We aren't and we're not on our 7th generation of wealth. And so Deacon Thomas was like, listen to me. Let me tell you what you do, okay? Instead of buying 4 pairs of shoes, you buy 2, okay? At a time, okay? He showed me how to set up investments, right? And he made me feel good because just like Haley talked about earlier, between your needs and your wants, Deacon Thomas gave me a strategy and taught me how to be able to still have the things that I wanted to have and still be able to grow wealth at the same time while doing it. So I enjoy life. My life is good. I have a good life, okay? Have we made some sacrifices? I don't really know if they're called sacrifices because I know what the long-term projection is, Some stuff I just don't need, right? I don't need a whole lot of shoes, okay? I'm at that age now, I'm 40 plus. My feet be hurting. I be cute, but them feet feel different now. I don't need them like I used to want them, right? It's not the same. And so over the years, my family and I, we have been able to, and when I say my family, I don't just mean me, but my brothers, my dad, my uncles, we've been able to really focus on growing wealth for our family so that when we're gone, because if you don't know, you're not going to be here forever. When we're gone, we're able to leave a legacy of wealth behind and be able to enjoy the ride right now and be able to feel good about leaving something for what's to come. So I'm Jamil. I've been a licensed real estate agent in Arkansas for 16 years. I'm married to Corey Thomas. There he is. We've been married 7 years. I am a mom of a 4-year-old. Y'all pray for me. Didn't nobody tell me about having kids later in life. I see why people do that in their 20s. Okay? All right? We just got back from vacation, and I'm tired. And she on 10. Like, can we go back to the pool? No. Don't you want to take a nap? Because I want to take a nap. But I'm learning. 16 years ago, I had some friends, and we opened a real estate company together. And now that company has franchised into a Century 21, the only African-American Century 21 owned in the state of Arkansas. And so Corey Garrett's our principal broker there. We started from the bottom. We started with 4 agents, and now we have 36 across the state. So God is good, and more than anything, what we like to do is help people build real estate portfolios. We don't just sell you a house, okay? That's not what we're here to do. We're here to help people build real estate portfolios. I was just talking to a family about, I sold them their home years ago. Their kid has graduated from college, and now it's time to sell them something as they begin their journey to building wealth through real estate too. And so that's what we like to do. Financial literacy changed my mind and my life. If you haven't gotten a concept yet about Coming to Money Matters, it's about shifting your mindset, okay? So based on what Candace told y'all last week, everybody need a what? Everybody need a home base. Say it together. Home. Say it again. Okay, y'all know what y'all need. Come on here, right? This class is about changing your mindset. We're not here to make you rich, right? We not here to the grand prize will never be a Range Rover, okay? We got these gift cards that the church has blessed us with, okay? But our goal is to shift your mindset so that you start thinking differently about how you see and spend your money so that you can begin growing your wealth for you, your family, and then those generations that are going to come later, okay? That's boring stuff. All right. Why invest in real estate, okay? So real estate serves a lot of different purposes. Number one, it's been around since George Washington, okay? It ain't going nowhere, and no more land is being created. If y'all haven't gotten the memo, we can't create. They're doing a whole lot of creation of stuff, but not more land, okay? And so real estate serves as a long-term savings vehicle. It can be used as debt repayment, retirement. You know, my grandma said you buy your house, you live in it until you retire from that job, and then you don't have no mortgage when you retire, and it's free. You get to live for free, okay? So retirement tool. And then we like to use it as a wealth-generating tool is what we'll talk about today. There are benefits to owning real estate. Haley talked a little bit about tax benefits when you own a primary home versus renting. Property values increase, and I'm going to show you a chart of that of a real house right here in Little Rock. And then it helps us build healthy economies. If you've ever driven to the areas where people own their home, tell me what they look like. Yell it out. The areas where people own their homes, they own them, they live there. What does it look like? Nice neighborhood. Landscaped. Come on, vocabulary words. Y'all know I used to be a teacher. I like them. Mr. Charles, tell them vocabulary words. Huh? What else? What a yard got grass in it, right? Not dirt, grass. Huh? No animals chained up to the tree. They usually in the backyard in the fence. Come on, somebody. Come on. Now, if y'all gonna own stuff, huh? Not 12 cars. Got garages, carports. No parking. Usually they not right because we got the ordinance man gonna come by where people paying their property tax because somebody gonna call them. I'm that neighbor. Yeah. I am. Yeah. Nice schools in the area, nice parks, right? Okay? And so that is what we're talking about, building a healthy economy. When you are owning a home in a neighborhood, in an area, you're contributing to healthy economies. All right, so median home sales price. I love selling houses, right? My team loves selling houses. We like what we do. Please don't call us for a $60,000 house. Okay, we don't have them. Let me just go. We don't have them. Okay, we don't have them no more. All right, we ain't got them. All right, I'll tell you what we got. In the United States, the median home sales price is $418,000 is the median. So don't come to me and tell me, Jamil, first time home buyer. Ain't got it. 10 years ago, that median sales price was $205,000. In 10 years, we've skyrocketed from $205,000 to $418,000, okay? Real estate does what we call appreciates in value. It goes up in value over time. In Arkansas right now, our median home price is $256,000. Crystal and I just got through talking. I just got back from NWA. It is $529,000 for the median home price in Northwest Arkansas right now, okay? And Walmart hiring. We went and toured that new headquarters campus that's 10 blocks long. It's nice. It's nice. 10 years ago in Arkansas, median home sales price was $150,000. Okay? I tell you this not to scare you. I tell you this, number one, to know that the prices you see today is going to be the last day you see those prices. Okay? All we're going to do is go up. Appreciate in value, and that's good. For those of us that are homeowners, we like, woohoo, yay, yeah, make mine more, okay? But a lot of people get kind of on the fence. They get rocky on the interest rates and all that. I tell people this. You marry the house, you date the rate. Okay? So go ahead and marry that house, and you date that rate. If over time that rate goes down, guess what you do? Pick up the phone, call your bank, and say, hey, I want the new rate. I want the new rate. Okay? If it goes down, you can change the rate. Okay? What I can't do is I can't make the value of the house go down. Okay? That is not very likely. Okay? But we can date that rate, you know, and that thing go up and down. We ride that wave. It shift a little bit. I call down there and give me a new rate. All right? But I cannot make the value of that house come back down. Questions about that? Those real numbers. Yes. A limited amount. I don't know. I don't work at the bank. Haley, limited amount of time. You don't really want to do it too much, right? Just when it's going to go down enough to benefit you. Yeah. Well, yeah, we got programs. The bank got programs to help us. Programs, and we got strategies in Money Matters, okay? All right. So if it goes down to where it's going to benefit you, hop on in there. If you say, you know what, I want to buy a home, let me go ahead and get it. If I'm not totally satisfied with the rate, a couple of years it goes down, you do have the option to refinance that and get a different rate. Yes, ma'am. Where is it advertised? On Arvest's website?
Just watch the Arvest website. Okay, thank you.
Money Matters, we telling you, write it down. Don't we got these notebooks? Write these strategies down. Yeah. I do want to talk about, before I talk about this, I want to talk about something, because we just had a question to Haley from the online chat that asked, do I have to pay my house off? Do I have to sell my house in order to buy another house? Is that what the question? Okay. Let me tell you about a couple I had, some clients. I got time. I had known these people for years. College-educated people, done worked hard, all this. They call me, and they say, Jamil, we ready to sell our house. I said, great. I love to sell y'all a new house. We got 2 more payments. Two more? Like, what you mean? Huh? Well, you know, the bank told us we had to pay for the house for 30 years, and we got 2 more payments. This couple did not know that you could sell your house without paying your mortgage. Like, when they had gone to the bank 30 years ago to get a loan, they honestly believe, based on what the bank gave them, right? It's called an amortization statement. Baby, he had been crossing them out on the list for 30 years. Hadn't paid any more, hadn't refinanced. 2 more payments. They was proud. I said, you know, we can buy a new house tomorrow. I explained it to them, and you just should have seen it in their faces, right? They're in their early 60s at this point. They've raised their kids. They've been living in 1,300 square feet, right? 3 kids, sharing a bathroom. You know, the struggle had been real. And now they were ready to get a house to have more space. Kids grown and gone. They got grandkids now. And, well, now my grandma said if you want to stay married, everybody need their own space. Well, I'm just, you know, everybody need their own space now. And so I explained to them how it worked, you know, that was not necessary. So I tell myself now I will never be in front of a room of people and not let you know that you do not have to pay your mortgage off in 30 years. If you decide that you need to get another house, you can sell that house. You can get what's called money out of it. Y'all know y'all be tripping on equity. We can make money. I try not to, I like kindergarten words, more money. Equity mean more money. You can get that out, and you can use that money to apply to buy your next home. Sad part about this story, explain that to them. We get to the shopping. Husband gets sick, passes away. 7 months later, Wife gets sick, passes away. Never got to sell them that house. So I always tell people, ask questions, because that was one of the things I told them. I said, why you didn't call your bank and ask them when you needed more space, okay? But I'll never sit in a room again and not tell people that you don't have to pay your house off in 30 years, okay? If you have one, you have a need, you need more space, you need a different location, whatever, call your banker and say, hey, we're thinking about selling our house, right? See what your options are, and then call us and we're going to help you do the rest, okay? All right? Everybody got that message? All right. That's a hard part of my job. Are you ready to buy a house? Are you ready to buy a house? Okay? And when I say house, are you ready to buy real estate? You might not want to buy no house. You might say, Jamil, I'm single. I want a duplex because I want to start investment property right now. Cool. Great. Okay? You may say, I kind of want one of those tiny homes. That's what you told me, tiny homes. I already got some land. My grandma left it to me. Let's see what we can do with that, okay? Are we ready? 2 things we need to do. Haley talked about monthly spending plan. I think also Dr. Deacon Thomas talked about that if you were here in February. Monthly spending plan, make sure we can afford it, okay? And afford what you want to afford, right? Just because the bank says we're going to give you this much doesn't mean you have to use it. I still want to be able to do what I want to do. Yeah. Because I like to buy lottery tickets sometimes. And that's a line item budget on my, okay, all right. Okay, all right. And then make sure your credit, you got your credit together, okay? You've gone to the bank, you've looked at, you don't even have to go to the bank. What is it, Marcus? Free annualcreditreport.com. I remembered annualcreditreport.com. Go there. Here's a money matter strategy. If you go there every 4 months, then you can pull TransUnion this 4 months, Equifax the next 4 months, and then what's the other one? Experian the last 4 months. And then that way you can get your credit report, a free one, 3 times a year. That's a strategy that's free.
That's good. Right. That's good.
That's good. Thank you, Marcus. Y'all should give me a job over there, artists. What y'all want me to do?
Hired.
Send them on, Lord. Send them. All right, so once you've decided this is my spending plan, this is what I feel comfortable with, your credit is A1, we ready to do something, we're not nervous about going in the bank because we already know what we can do. We get what's called our buying power, and then that's when they tell us, hey, this is how much money we trust. Everybody say trust. This is how much money we trust giving you to purchase a home, right? Because the bank says, you know what? We want to help you grow wealth. We want you to help us grow wealth. So let's all work together and grow money together. That's what the bank does, okay? No need to be intimidated or scared when we go in there. All right, so we're going to talk a little bit about building wealth through real estate, what that can look like. First thing I always tell people is get you a primary residence, okay? And like I said, that could look like a house, a duplex, a fourplex, whatever, however you want to live. Get you a primary one. And you say, oh, Jamil, but I live in these apartments, and I like having a maintenance man to do everything. Come on, somebody. Huh? I don't want to cut no grass. Okay, y'all ready for strategy? That's fine. Get you a house, put you a renter in it, let them pay you rent, and you use that rent to pay for that bougie, whatever it is you want to live in, huh? Strategy. And you get the best of both worlds. You still own real estate, and you still living the lifestyle you want to live. Is that okay? All right, that's for them young folks. See, what generation? I'm in the middle. Y'all know I'm like, I got a grandma that's 94, a daddy that's 76, nieces that's 35. I'm a cross between I don't like iPads and I want to write in my notebook, but I need to take a picture of it with my phone because I need it to go everywhere with me. That's where I'm at. All right, the bank has lots of financial tools for you to use. Now, sometimes I hear people say, oh, Jamil, I don't want to owe nobody no money. We got cash. I just want to pay for it. Okay? Well, I know in September, Deacon Thomas is going to be talking about some investment things. Well, in order to do investments, you got to have cash. Okay? It also gives you leverage to be able to do other things. And sometimes using the bank's money allows you to grow wealth faster. Okay? So they have a tool called a HELOC, a home equity line of credit, but there's also some other things you can do and use for growing wealth. We're going to talk about that one in just a minute. And then you use money that's inside of your assets to acquire what? More assets, right? Okay, if I got one rent house and it's giving me $1,200 a month, what else do I want? A second rent house that's giving me $1,200 a month, okay? Because by the time you get 4 rent houses, what that mean? Huh? You ain't got to work. Hello, somebody? What's 12 plus 12? 24. What's 24 plus 24? 48. Can you live off $4,800 a month? Oh, okay, I know I can. I can work some things out. I might have to use that McDonald's app every now and then. Huh? But if I have 4 rent houses producing me some income and I don't have to work a job, hallelujah, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, somebody, yeah. Oh. I'm just telling y'all what the people want y'all to know. All right, so you have options. When we're talking about growing wealth in real estate, you have options. Some of that may be to buy a rental property, okay? Invest in a bigger real estate deal. So you may have some friends and they're going to buy an apartment complex, right? You can be a component of buying that apartment complex with your friends. You can rent a portion of your existing home, okay? I've seen people do this. They have a home. It sits on half an acre. Okay, they build a little cottage back there. They call it a studio, and they rent it out, and it's on the same property. Okay, I have some people who have the basement of their house, cut off access to upstairs, rent the basement out. Okay, now their renter is paying their mortgage, and they living for what? Free, F-R-E-E, free. Okay, that's strategy. That's strategy. Okay. And then there's what we call real estate investment trust. Let's get started with the basic stuff first. And then we have flipping houses. How many of y'all, HGTV, when we was all locked in for COVID, even if you did not care about no house, everybody was watching HGTV. Just say it, admit it. It'll make you feel better. See there? Yeah, my husband, like, he going to work because he works at the hospital. He coming home and he like, why we got stuff from Lowe's? Because on HGTV, they show how you could change your closet, and then I could put my shoes down here, and then I'll be able to reach them. Just foolishness. But anyway, if you want to flip houses, we'll talk a little bit about that. So there's 4 ways. I gave y'all a handout. Y'all like my handout? It's cute. Does it look kindergarten-y? Because y'all know I used to teach school. I didn't want, come on, basic. I want y'all to miss it. So 4 ways real estate investors make money, right? So we talked about real estate appreciation. What does that mean? Y'all tell me. Value goes up. Thank you. So there's real estate appreciation. Do you have to do anything for that? No. All you got to do is buy something. Buy something and keep it. Well, take care of it, pay your bills, right? But buy it and keep it. You're doing it anyway. You either paying rent or you paying mortgage, because unless you homeless or what they call unsheltered, is that what they are? Okay, unhoused. All right, unless you unhoused, you either paying your mortgage or somebody else's. Okay, that choice is yours. Cash flow. So if you own a rental property and it's cash flowing, that means it's making money. That's a part of making money as a real estate investor. Real estate related income. Okay, so let's say you have a rental property and you charge a security deposit. Okay, that's a real estate related part of income that comes in. And then the last one there is ancillary. Everybody say ancillary. Okay, if you're from Arkansas, you know it comes out a little different. Y'all know I had to get on YouTube and give me a pronunciation key to make sure I was saying it right when I learned it. Ancillary income, and that's just called extra. Everybody say extra. That is having a piece of real estate and then finding ways to make extra money off of it, okay? So let's say you own a fourplex, okay? And let's say it's got let's say on the back it's got a little covered patio area. And you put a washer and dryer out there. Now your tenants have a washer and dryer to use, okay? You chose not to put them in the units. You put it out there for shared, right? I don't want to buy 4 washers and dryers. I want to buy 1, and I want you to put your quarters in them, okay? That's ancillary income. That is using the same piece of real estate to make me some extra. Oh, y'all, Pastor Pointer, he better know that I'm coming for him. All right, let's talk about this house. This house just sold last week. Anybody buy this house last week? I'm just asking. Okay. All right. This house sold last week, 520 North Tyler, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, basic house, 1,400 square feet. It was built in 1950, okay, 1950. Here's the sales history on this house. Now, I don't know what it sold for in 1950 because that wasn't in our numbers. But I can start you at 1989. I was in kindergarten. No. Was I in kindergarten? 8, 2, 5, 8, 6. I was in the 2nd grade in 1989. I was in the 2nd grade. I was born in 82. All right. So anyway, in 89, while I was in the 2nd grade, this house was $57,000. In 1994, somebody else bought it. It was $61,000. In 2002, I was in college. It was $99,000. 2015, it was $187,500. 2025, last week, it sold for $277,400. You say you wouldn't have bought it, but does anybody remember what the median home price is in Arkansas right now? No, that's U.S. 256. 256. Yeah. Now, this one I will say, they have updated the inside. You know, they've refinished the floors out. You know, it was painted, right? But we still talking about the same dwelling. Hello? Right? If you have been had it since 1950, you rich right now. In 35 years, that home has appreciated in value $220,000. Which is why I tell you, don't call me and ask me for no $60,000 house. We ain't got none, okay? Appreciation happens and things go up in value, all right? At least not move-in ready. Now, if y'all want it a little raggedy and you want to do a little work to it, I can work with y'all, okay? Huh? We can. We got a strategy for that. We got a team, okay? We'll talk about that in a minute. If you rented this house right now, this is out in Hillcrest, by the way. But it's old. I mean, you know. Huh? I want that air. I need nice. No. I'm going to show you a house just a minute in Southwest. I'm going to show you. So rent rate on this house would be between $1,400 and $1,800 a month. Okay? So yeah, think about it. If you had this house, let's just say if you had it since 1989, right? It was paid off. You had decided to move somewhere else, but you kept this house as a rental. Now you would be clearing $1,400 to $1,800 a month. Okay? Now, remember this. The home value did what? Went up. So now that house is worth $270. If I needed to go to the bank to borrow some money, I say, Haley told me I got an asset. My asset has value. I don't need to borrow no money. Let me get a line of credit on this $270,000 that I already own, and let me do something with it.
When she first bought it, it was 57.
Mm-hmm.
So if she passed and she just left it to me, how much taxes would I have? Would I have to pay taxes on that home?
So that is something we're going to talk about in the estate planning workshop, because we need to make sure your mama leave it correctly. That's a strategy.
So if she got to leave it in trust instead of a will?
Well, it just depends on what the situation is.
Okay.
But there's a strategy that can help with the tax portion of that. Okay. Yes, and that's not my class to teach.
Okay.
I have a question. Will they loan you money on investment property?
Will they loan you money on investment property? I don't work at the bank. That's not my question.
And I want to take money out on my investment property, will they allow me to do that?
I don't know. You
Bank
gotta ask
question.
Marcus or Haley. Look, Marcus do thumbs up because when you make money, the bank make money, and we all making money.
Yes, ma'am.
They got yes, ma'am. Long as your credit is what it need to be, and you gonna bring them folks their money back. All right, come on, somebody. Marcus done learned me something today. Husband, write that down. We got investment property. I might need a few dollars off that. All right. Everybody meet Burnout Betty. Say, hey, girl. She done had a rough life. Huh? It sure is. Southwest, you better know it. On Republic. You saw it when it was like this? Burnout Betty. All right, so I had a client purchase this house. Just like it was. Raggedy, burnt up. $15,000. Okay? Now, if you would have saw Burnout Betty, what you would have said? I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay? Let me tell y'all why we get excited when we see Burnout Betty. All right? Bought this house at $10 a square foot value. 3 bedroom, 2 bath. It was 1,500 square feet. Burnt up to the crisp. Burnt. Now, the person who owned this house, they had insurance. So they had already gotten their insurance claim. Went on about their life, got their money, built their new house, and got a little extra 15 to go with it. All right? Y'all follow me? Cash injection. What this means is my client had a HELOC, a home equity line of credit. They had some cash money. Took $60,000 to rehab this house. Okay? Please do not try to do it yourself. We have contractors. We can help you with that. Hired a contractor to rehab this house in probably about 8.5 months. Yeah, if you was passing by, you saw us working. We was working, girl. Sold this house for $195. And ARV, let me learn y'all something, write it down. ARV means after rehab value. After rehab value. Sold it at $105 a square foot. Turned it into, I'm telling you, the contractors get creative. He was like, you know what? We can add another bathroom, and we can add you another bedroom too. Huh? We over here fixing it anyway, okay? We paid, took it from a 1,500 square foot house to a 1,850 square foot house. Closing fees was $10,000. Anybody want to guess how much profit this buyer walked away with, or this owner walked away with when they sold it? $150. Y'all yell it out like the TV show, like the $150, like the auction. $150. What else y'all got? $151. $1. After all fees were paid, this seller walked away with $110,000. Put the $60,000 back. The rest of that was cash profit. We take it and we do it again.
So we actually walked away with $160,000, but he paid himself back for the HELOC.
No. I don't think the 60 has come out of there. Has it? Is it already out? 185, 60, 135, 10, 125. Yeah, it's out. 110. Sorry, he walked away with 110. Come on, she know math. You taught math too. That's somebody teaching. I be doing different presentations. Okay, 110 is what they walked away with. Okay, to go do it again, right? Do you need to work a job if you gonna make 110 off Burnout Betty? I'm just asking. Y'all working for? I don't know why y'all working, cause y'all working. So that's why I say when you said I wouldn't pay that for that house, this was 2 years ago, Republic, and that was $200,000 2 years ago. Yes, ma'am.
But I would still be responsible for that loan. That even though I put the $50,000 up, but the HELOC I'd have to pay loan.
We already put it back. We already put it back. That was the $60,000 cash injection came from the HELOC. We already put it back.
Where to put it back?
That's what she was telling me. She was checking my math. Cause Because, baby, she trying to get that tiny home. So, she like, I need all these numbers right. Okay? Oh, that's it. So, what I hope you took away from today, okay, is the value of real estate. Me and Mr. Charles, we were just talking, and, he was talking about their own grandma's house, right? At what point do we sell grandma's house? Never. So I went to, while I was in Northwest Arkansas, I went and toured Walmart's new headquarters, right? They built it in what we would have called the hood. Yeah, they bought 10 blocks of hood and built the new headquarters. But the reason I tell you this is because real estate, no matter what's on it, is always going to have value. If that shack burned down to the ground, clear it off, put you something else on that land, and keep making money. The average age of real estate before, you really have to do something is between 75 and 80 years. So if you think about if you putting up a new structure, you have about 75 to 80 years to make you some money off that structure. But we can't give grandma's house away, okay? That land down in Hensley, we got to do something with it. That we've been holding on. It didn't pass through my great uncle, my uncle. Now my daddy got it. We got to do something with it, okay? So that it could make wealth. This making money while you sleep. Appreciation value going up, not doing anything. I'm sleeping. I'm going to bed at night in my house. Y'all making me money while I'm asleep. Thank you, Lord. The bank say, you make us money, we make you money, we all happy. Okay? But we have to know how to use our assets for leverage. We have to find the value. And then we just have to have a strategic plan. Like Burnout Betty. You only need to do one Burnout Betty a year to make a salary. Right? And then Candace done already told you if you got that home-based business for the property management on Burnout Betty, you just reduced your tax liability. You're going to pay less taxes earning Burnout Betty than you will going to a job every day. But it's strategy. And that's why you here. That's why we have Money Matters. That's why we have a team here to help you and support you in that. Questions for me, because I know my time is up. Questions for me? That will be in September. Yep. You want to own one? You own one? You own a cemetery. I don't know. We have to call the cemetery director for this. Seriously. You called. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we call the cemetery the director for that county. And then what we do is we find out what part of that parcel has to be used for cemetery. And then if any of it can be used that isn't required, then we could do something with it. Okay. Well, it'll have to be on a survey. Mm-hmm. And I only know that from working with a church. I'm working with a church right now, and I had to call the cemetery director for the county. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Mm-hmm. Ancillary income, using one real estate property to make a profit. There you go. Yep. Deacon Tubbs, you want me to sit down and be quiet? I will.
Hey, y'all give Jamil a big hand. The one story she didn't tell you, she was in the very first class of Money Matters, and she was driving what kind of car you driving, Jamil? She's driving this old big Yukon. I said, Jamil, you're 29. I said, what kind of car do you want? She said, I want me a 300Z. I said, let's go get you one. Jamil, did you get that 300Z? You had a kid, right? So the point is, she was living her best life. So I want to thank Arvest tonight. What's your name? They did this from Haley. Haley did a great job. You guys had the inside scoop tonight. Give her a hand. And give Arvest themselves a hand. Marcus and his team provided the food, the childcare, and all that good stuff. You guys got the inside scoop tonight from key people, the mortgage lender, the real estate expert. Number one thing you got to do, though, you got to take action. You got to get your financial house in order, right? It all starts with getting your financial house in order. When you go to the bank, they got to ask you what kind of grades you made in school or college. They don't even want to know what kind of degree you got. All they want to do is look at your financial statement, and it all starts today. How does that start? Evaluating where you are. It's like a GPS. Take a look at where you are financially, set some goals for yourself, and make it real. See, the time's going to go by anyway. You guys get that? Yeah. The time's going to go by anyway. You got all these experts. If you got $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 laying around, you might want to take it out of your 401k and do exactly what Jamil talked about. But if you don't know how to do it, can you go hire you an expert like Jamil to be the project manager over it? Would you pay her for that? Would you pay her $5,000 or $10,000 to make $100,000? See, that's what you got in hands. That's what you got at your hands right now. You need to make money? Move some money around. Borrow from yourself. Get your 401k. Go buy you one of those flip houses. Turn it. Pay back your 401k and walk away with a profit. Then do it again and again and again. It's not that difficult if you got experts working with you. They're experts. Take advantage of it. Lastly, I'm going to give you guys a verse tonight. I want you to read it later. But it's Matthew 9, 16 and 17. And it talks about putting new wine in old wineskins. Can somebody tell me what that means? Putting new wine in old wineskins. Give me a volunteer. What does that mean? You guys hear that? It can't handle because the old wineskins get brittle and dry. You put that new wine in there, it starts expanding, then all of a sudden it busts. You can't get to where you want to go, guys, with the old thinking that you had. You got to change your thinking. Everybody get that? You got to change your mindset. When you change the way you see things, the things you see start changing right before your eyes. So adjust your mindset and start telling yourself, I can have whatever I want to have with a strategy, with a plan. I can have the kind of retirement I want to have with a strategy, with a plan. I can buy the kind of house I want to buy with a strategy, with a plan. So the question, what's your plan? These last couple of classes have been phenomenal. The next class is going to be phenomenal. I want you to become an action taker. I just want you to be a note taker. Money makers are note takers plus what? Action takers. Say that with me. What? Action takers. So I want you guys to leave this class as an action taker. And lastly, I'm about done. Well, I am done. I look forward to you guys coming to the next class. It's going to be a very powerful class talking about estate planning, talking about how to protect your current assets you have. Get a chance to meet with the actual attorneys and stuff that do this stuff, get all your questions answered. Because a trust isn't always what you think it is. There are a lot of moving parts in a trust. You got to know what kind of trust to have and why it works. Any questions before we close out? It's been a good class. It's a big class, too. Let's go ahead and close out. But about our heads. Lord, thank you for this time of fellowship and learning. As we leave, we ask for your guidance to apply the lessons that we've learned into our lives and share those lessons with others. Help us to be doers of the word, Father, and not just hearers. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, you guys have a good evening. Give everybody a hand.